Shalom. I just want to share, like I said, this channel is for educational, informational, and sometimes sometimes I would say entertainment purposes, because sometimes I get the silliness in me and I just want to perform, I guess. But just to make light of the situations. But I want to, like I said, and for the record, I'm not instructing anyone to do anything. I'm not encouraging anyone to do anything. I'm providing information, and if I do say something that I'm doing, I'm not telling you to do it. But if the Great Spirit leads your spirit to do it, then that's your right. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Okay. I'm going to share with you today something called the Clearfield Doctrine, and also a brief background on the bankruptcy of 1933 of the United States Company, and then I'll share an affidavit for writ for common law lien, including lien. For the record, this is pertaining to myself. Alright, so the governments have descended to the level of mere private corporations. All this information can be found online, by the way. So I have not dug into some kind of deep revelation. This is something that is already ready available if you look. So I'm not doing anything that's out of the way, something that's a conspiracy or nothing like that. This is just information that you can find online. Okay, governments have descended to the level of mere private corporations. And then it said Clearfield Doctrine. Supreme Court annotated statute Clearfield Trust Company versus United States 318 U.S. 363-371-1942. Whereas defined pursuant to Supreme Court annotated statute Clearfield Trust Company versus United States 318 U.S. 363-371-1942. Governments have descended to the level of a mere private corporation and take on characteristics of a mere private citizen, where private corporate commercial paper, Federal Reserve notes, and securities checks is concerned. For purposes of suit, such corporations and individuals are regarded as entities entirely separate from government. What the Clearfield Doctrine is saying is that when private commercial paper is used by corporate government, then government loses its sovereignty status and becomes no different than a mere private corporation. As such, government then becomes bound by the rules and laws that govern private corporations, which means that if they intend to compel an individual to some specific performance based upon its corporate statutes or corporation rules, then the government, like any private corporation, must be the holder in due course of a contract or other commercial agreement between it and the one upon whom demands for specific performance are made. And further, the government must be willing to enter the contract. See, they're not the government. And further, they must be willing to enter the contract or commercial agreement into evidence before trying to get the court to enforce its demands, called statutes. Then I've also already told you, for the man that's in his proper capacity, this is based on the Bouvier's Law Dictionary, Volume 2, it says law. When when pertaining to objects, it is civil, penal, and criminal. So objects can be determined if you say that you are a 14th Amendment citizen, a corporate citizen. If you are a citizen of the corporation, then you are an object. If you're black, Negro, colored, all of these things, you're an object. See, the corporation was actually designed to for the service of the people, for the good of the people. But now they twisted it to make the people subservient to the corporation under legal fiction, if you claim to be that. That's why I always let it be known I do not claim to be a legal fiction. I always ask the questions that come to my mind to make sure, put on record what you are saying and what I'm agreeing to. And I've never agreed to being a corporate fiction entity. That's why I always say I'm a de jure. The term, like I said, that was in 1828 in different versions where it says Mary Khan. American. You know, de jure of the land, indigenous. And also the original, what is it? The original 13th Amendment, where it says that Africans and descendants of Africans cannot be corporate citizens, because of the, that was basically a violation, because they know that corporate citizens is slavery, and based on that information, they declared that they wouldn't. It's not lawful nor legal to enslave the Ibri Moor people. So it's there if we look it up, because they will stand by it. At least the good people will stand by it. Those who oppose these things are the ones acting in bad faith, who's trying to keep unrighteousness and unset apartness and criminal activity going. Those are the ones who have found problems with this information, but it's there for you to find out for yourself. All right. It says for purposes of suit, such corporations and individuals are regarded as entities entirely separate from the government. What the Clearfield Doctrine is saying is what when private commercial paper is used by corporate government, then government loses its sovereignty status and becomes no different than a mere private corporation. As such, government then becomes bound by the rules and laws that govern private corporations, which means that if they intend to compel an individual to some specific performance based upon its corporate status or corporation rules, then the government, like any private corporation, must be holder in due course of a contract, other commercial agreement between it and the one upon whom demand for specific performance are made. And further, the government must be willing to enter the contract and commercial agreement into evidence before trying to get the court to enforce its demands, called statutes. This case is very important because in 1942, let me do that again. This case is very important because it is a 1942 case that was decided after the United States Corporation Company filed its certificate of incorporation in the state of Florida July 15, 1925. And it was decided after the corporate government agreed to use currency of the private corporation, the Federal Reserve. The privacy currency, the Federal Reserve note, is still in use today. Then this is background 1933, the bankruptcy of United States. 1933 was a year of major events in America. During this year, constitutional money, gold, became outlawed, and effectively all property in America became mortgaged. Remember, we talked about mortgage, dead pledge. Basically, the mortgage is basically saying that it's null and void and it never was valid. And basically, the fiat that you're giving them is actually a gift. And then through ignorance, they get you to pledge yourself. But then also look up the term full faith or full disclosure and disclosure. And then you'll see that anytime they didn't give you full disclosure, is null and void. From the beginning, from the onset. It says it became outlawed and effectively all property in America became mortgaged and held in a trust for Federal Reserve Bank as a collateral for the national debt. All this was done without the full knowledge or consent of the American people. This was the year the government instituted the creation of the all capital letter straw man names via the newly required birth certificate for all American citizens, thus creating a whole new class of persons as debtor slaves. These are called straw men. And this is why their Pope gave the full disclosure to the corporations and all those acting in that capacity, that all estates and estates has been returned to the people. So basically, they cannot trick you. They cannot force you into doing anything. But they still try, because that's what they do. But you just got to stand being yourself, and that's just talking. Like, once again, I'm not trying to tell anybody to do anything. You decide for yourself. On June 5th, 1933, the United States, all capitals, Congress passed House Joint Resolution 192, which served as a declaration of bankruptcy. Congress declared the H.R. 192 that demanding the payments in gold, constitutional money, or in any particular form would not be against the public policy. At the same time, President Roosevelt issued Executive Order 6102 forbidding the hoarding of gold coins, gold bullions, and certificates. With this executive order, Roosevelt ordered that most of the gold in circulation be returned to the Federal Reserve banks across the nation under the threat of fines and 10 years in prison. What the leaders at the time failed to disclose was that the confiscation of all gold, money, and property that made all Americans spelled in proper case creditors to the U.S. bankruptcy. Let me see, where was I at? Alright, so I'm running out of time on this video, so I'll just create another one about the affidavit for writ for common law lien, including lien. That's for my private allodial purposes. Okay, shalom.